There are more than 7,500 butchers and supermarkets around the country selling beef worth $1.8 billion a year. But when it comes to the growing number of premium beef brands, how are consumers to know what the experts say is the very best? Well, this week, Australia's top red meat brands battled it out in Brisbane for the honour of being named the country's best steak. Given Wagyu's won the prestigious Best in Show award for the last 3 years, onlookers wondered if 2012, the year of so much grass, would see a grass-fed beast knock the grain-fed Wagyu off for the coveted prize. The branded beef sector is growing increasingly crowded as more companies differentiate their premium or hero brands. So how are consumers, whether they're confronted with a restaurant menu or a meat cabinet at the butcher or supermarket, to know which brand's the best? To find out, a team of food scientists and judges this week cooked, ate and spat their way through some of the country's top steaks.
This year we've got 28 entries, which is a record for us. We also know that that's the greatest number of entries for any competition of this kind in the country.
For the gold, silver and bronze medals awarded at the RNA's annual Branded Beef Awards in Brisbane to be taken seriously, the beef has to be handled meticulously.
Each exhibitor's meat is treated exactly the same way.
In charge in the kitchen is a team of food scientists.
We just get the loins here, and then yesterday it was all cut up to the millimetre, the same thickness, right? So critical that they are cut to the same thickness, obviously, so we can cook them to exactly the same degree.
This $6,500 griller is the key.
Well, it's really important that we get every steak cooked just the same.
The meat's cooked at 200 degrees for 2 minutes and 45 seconds, then rested for 2 minutes before being served. Judges award points for juiciness, tenderness and flavour. And yes, like wine competitions, they spit.
We've got 28 products to judge today, and we certainly need to spit some of it out, otherwise, the palate just diminishes because your brain's telling you that you're full, you've eaten enough, and it switches off. So we need to try to keep our palate in as good condition as we can, so we spit as much as we possibly can.
There are 5 classes for grass-fed, grain-fed and Wagyu. For the last 3 years, marbled grain-fed Wagyu's been awarded Best in Show.
The Wagyu's about texture and mouthfeel. The grass-fed steaks that we had here earlier today, grass-fed's about flavour. If they get the genetics right and the feeding right, you can have wonderful sort of flavoured grass-fed steak as well, so there's no reason why that can't get up also.
I think most people have a natural gravitation to grass. It's what we've grown up with and it's what we're used to. We probably secretly see it like New South Wales in state of origin. They're the underdog, so you'd like to see them get up. I personally would. Look, I don't know. It'll be a tough battle.
Apart from professional food judge Russell Smith, the judging panel included chefs, restaurateurs, a food critic and a rural journalist.
The best jump out at you. You can't miss them. The others are all something that I would happily eat any day of the week.
I suppose it's a vegetarian's nightmare, isn't it?
Every year we come to this, it just gets better and better.
When it came to the Wagyu class, the judges were confronted with a steak that would be at home in a Japanese butcher. It wholesales at $110 a kilo.
They said, we've never seen anything like that in Australia. I certainly haven't. That was very, very high marbling.
It was actually one of the pieces of Wagyu that it was just very difficult to let go of.
Incredibly rich, a melt-in-the-mouth experience. I'd imagine what red wine, what Grange is to red wine, I'd imagine that this is what it is to red meat.
The quality was so high this year, Brisbane beef restaurateur John Kilroy was reluctant to spit.
Normally I'd be going through lots of cups and buckets, but yeah, I think I swallowed most of mine today.
The judges chose the country's best steak from the 5 class winners. The feeling was that this year grass-fed might just triumph.
if there's a year to eat grass-fed beef, it's this one, because there's an awful lot of good grass out there at the moment and grain is expensive. So for people who maybe haven't been as keen on the grass-fed because they've been going more towards the Wagyu, then it might be a good year to experiment.
While the steaks were within just points of each other, the beef logie went to a full-blood Wagyu.
Exhibited by Andrews Meat Industries.
Tajima is I guess, our hero brand. We started the Tajima brand Wagyu as an F1 program nearly 6 years ago. And the next level of that was the full blood, which is what we showed in there today. The full blood we've been doing for about 8 months. So for us it's relatively new and hopefully a growing part of our business.
It was Andrews Meat's first time in the competition. To achieve such high marbling scores, the company's full-blood Wagyus spend up to 650 days in the feedlot.
We do a minimum marble score 8 right through to 9+, which is as high as it goes in the Australian grading system, but that particular piece was a marble score 9.
RNA boss Brendan Christou hopes consumers will use the gold, silver and bronze medals to buy beef the way wine buyers use them to pick a bottle of wine.
We want them, when they see that packaging in the supermarket or at the butcher, that they know that that's the best of the best quality.
At the moment, Tajima Wagyu is exported, but some of Brisbane's top restaurants will have the gold medal winner on their menus within weeks.